Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew, where family's everything.
Until it's not. Hello, Andrew.
Hi,
How are
Aunt.
you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine.
That's
It was a
amazing.
great week of Beverly Hills.
It was. I'm happy that
Uh,
they had fun at the end. I know we'll get there, but that for me, like, I was just happy to see that.
yes, I will say the opening, I felt for Kyle, and I'm not a huge Kyle fan. She has her moments, and I felt bad for her because her kids are grown, her husband's gone. She has that big house, it's just her and the dogs, and even her daughters don't want to be with her anymore.
I don't know if that's true. I think that that was just a scene and they used it as a moment to make us feel
No,
okay.
Portia seems legitimately like she didn't want her mom joining them for lunch.
Portia is of the age where you don't want your mom joining you for lunch, whether
Oh,
you're
that's true. Yeah.
divorced, not. So
Yeah. Well, Portia just wants to drive her Porsche around.
I think what Kyle will struggle with is the fact that three-fourths of her kids work with her at
Oh, yeah,
her
that's gonna
husband.
be hard for
And like
her.
that's natural. I mean, that's something where like I mean, again, like it's just imagine if something happened with you and your husband and your daughter was working at his office, she'd naturally be closer to him.
Yeah,
If
of
you were
course.
trying to stay
And
away from him,
that's where the money is, not with Kyle, but with Mauricio.
yeah, but I think that they're in real estate, right? Like if they were if Portia wanted to be in Hollywood, she'd probably be all over Kyle.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
So
know.
I just
I
think
don't know. I think it's very funny though that Kyle went on and on that her marriage has been questioned, her sexuality, this, if she's of this, if she's that, if she's this. I'm going to tell you, I'm not questioning any of it, Kyle. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care about the status of your marriage. I don't. And I
this
think,
goes off of this what we were talking about offline, and
yeah,
it just clicked for me. Too many people in this world care way too much about other people's private parts
business.
of their life.
And we shouldn't, because I don't care what you do as long as you don't hurt anybody.
I just want people to people say all the time, how are you? It's the worst statement we say to people. Why
Why?
do we ask people how are you? What business is it? We should say, you
Oh,
having a nice
that
day?
that's you know what? I want
You
to tell
having a
you
nice
something.
day? Or like,
I had somebody tell me they'd gone, this has nothing to do with this
no,
show.
no, no, but just be quick.
Okay, I had somebody tell me that they'd gone to confession
Hmm.
and they confessed that they hated when they lie to people, when they ask them a personal question that they don't want to tell the truth to.
Hmm.
And the priest said that's not a lie. There's nothing to forgive you. Just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean they're entitled to the truth.
Yeah, or
It's
an
none
answer.
of their business. So,
Exactly.
however you want to answer them is fine with him. Is it like he said, as long as you're not hurting anybody or anything like that. But if somebody says, you're well, what did you eat? And you don't want to tell them that you had a piece of cake because you, for whatever reason, you go, oh, I had a piece of fruit. And then it's not technically a lie, according to the priest, because it wasn't really, if they're not married to you or whatever, it really wasn't their right to even know what you ate. So
Exactly.
if
They
you
asked a
lied to them,
question. They weren't in the
they
right
were
to ask the
nosy
question.
to
So
begin with.
you're
Right.
not asked to have to then give them like
Exactly.
they asked a question that in reality wasn't their question to ask. So you
Right.
don't owe them your truthful answer because
Exactly.
you owe them what they asked whatever question they wanted.
And when
You can
it's
give them whatever
nosy,
answer you
right.
want.
They're not entitled to the truth if it's intrusive in your life.
Yeah. Well,
You
I have to
know,
say this about Kyle. What bothers me a little bit is the fact that
listen to us. We're theologians
I
now.
don't think that I would hope that she doesn't have to admit this, but like I just hope in her quiet time,
But that she admits she's a lesbian?
no, that she
I
knows
don't
that
think
she
she is
has
now.
not provided, that she has been the one asking questions that are not her story and that really aren't like again, they're on a reality show, so it's hard to like justify they
I'm
are
going to
supposed
tell
to
you what
share
I
and ask
think.
questions. But Kyle used to be the one, you got to be real. You got to do
Yeah.
this. And so I just think like you're absolutely right. You don't have to give the honest answer when someone asks you that question, but I do think that it's different when you're on a reality show and you are signing up for this. And if you're not going to do that on a reality show, I think that like there's really only unfortunately, the women that leave these shows that don't get asked back for another season, they're the ones that usually act the most mature, the most respectful, and the most
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah,
normal when they're filming because
totally.
they
Yeah.
don't bring what the network wants, which is nosy questions. So what I think happens is when Kyle's not in the hot seat, she's okay being a reality star. When Kyle's in the hot seat, she wants to live her private life without
Of
camera.
course. Yeah, of course. But I mean, like, is it, do I have a right to ask Kyle Richards, are you in uh, uh, um, a relationship with another woman?
Are you yourself?
No, I do not have the right to ask Kyle Richards if she is in a, I can ask Kyle Richards, are you in a relationship with a woman? I can ask that question. She's under no obligation to tell me the truth because it's none of my business.
Exactly.
But we watch Housewives for a different reason. But what I'm saying is, nobody really has the right to
The
question.
only time that you have the right is as is in this scenario. Kyle, you said
Yeah,
at the reunion, if I
yeah,
want to date
we're
a
on a
woman, I'm gonna
show for
date a
this reason.
woman. Like, but I'm gonna do it. So it's like, so
No, but
then,
when you sign up on the dotted line to be in a reality show, you're signing up for
but
something
I, yeah,
different.
but I think even more with this, it took it further. Like Garcelle just said, what if Garcelle genuinely was like, well, you said at the reunion, if you wanted to date a woman, you were gonna date a woman. So now, as someone who's been on a show with you for years and consider you a friend, I'm asking you, did you decide to go date a woman? You
But
said if
don't
you
ask
wanted
it
to, you were
online.
going to. So I'm asking you now. Now, if you didn't want me to ask you that, you shouldn't have said, if I want to go date a woman, I will. So it's like, that's the problem. And I also think that if you're not going to answer truthfully, don't then sit there and say, you got to be real. Because it's like, you got to pick one. Like, you either have to be okay with people hiding the things and lying about the things that you don't deserve to hear and that they don't want to share, but you maybe ask
Right.
and it's not your right. Or you have to be willing to like stay quiet when you want to know something about someone else. Like you have to pick one. You have to pick a lane. And I think
Of
Kyle
course.
never thought she'd be in that hot seat.
No,
She never
never,
thought
ever,
she'd be
ever.
the one
Well,
that's
she
going through the
didn't think that
divorce.
she'd be divorced.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
think she's ever going to get a divorce,
So
though.
I just would
Because
hope that I
they're
just
never
think
getting
that Kyle
divorced.
could do a huge solid for her reputation with fans if she just said to the whole group, guys, I know over the years I've been the one pushing people to know what's going on. And I think, you don't know until it happens to you. And I again, if I've ever asked you a question that wasn't appropriate or that you didn't feel comfortable answering, I apologize because now I know how it feels. And leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, Dorit's gotten very thin.
Yeah, and it's just too much for me. It's like it's too
Why is it too
performative.
much for you?
It's
Oh,
too
she is a little performative.
performative.
Oh,
And
you
I
mean when she
question
came in,
Bose.
Jagger, Mommy, are you and Daddy divorced? I mean, that was a little
And like my
actressy.
whole thing is, it's like, wait a minute,
But
like,
she's got a problem. She should have told her kids that was coming out. There is no way anybody in this day and age, those kids can read. They
yeah,
have
like this is like
phones.
they go to school, half their classmates have phones and they've seen social
They have
media.
phones. Yeah, they're 10
Yes,
years old. I mean, you should have told them that you're separating or you're putting out whatever. But the way that Sutton responded to that news when everybody was like, oh, that's terrible that
it
he
was
asked
wrong.
you. Oh, Sutton. Yeah. Well, I love that they did the flashback to, well, I had a bad day too. So what uh
Dorit's house got
Dorit
robbed.
had an armed
But
robbery,
here's my thing.
home
Don't you think
invasion. I
Kyle
had a
could
rough
have
day
this
too.
is where I question like this is where I question like I don't believe Kyle that she really cares too much about Dorit.
I
Because
don't
like,
either.
do you know what I would have done in that moment? Like this is the part that I think blows my mind. If I was on one of these shows, I would have been a kid in a candy store sitting in uh Kyle's was it Kyle's house they were at before they went? Yeah.
Yeah,
Kid
yeah.
in a candy store when that was said. When Sutton said it. Because if I was Kyle, I would have been like, oh, here's my moment to get back good with Dorit and to show people that I'm not phony. And I would have jumped in and been like, Sutton, that's not okay. Come on, stop it for a second.
Nobody said one thing.
No one said a word.
No,
And
nothing.
I wouldn't have allowed it. Like I wouldn't, they may have said a word and it got cut out,
Oh, that could be too,
but
because
I
we're
wouldn't,
finding
this
out
is what I'm
these
saying.
things
If
all the
I was
time.
on one of these shows for this many years, I would know I have to stay true to it and I'm not getting off the subject until we get into that car to go to Garcelle's. Because if I move forward or if I show a different, they're just going to cut out me being real. They don't want this, but I'm going to be real. And I'm
Yep.
going to like, I just wouldn't let the moment pass by. And I'm telling you, this is someone who I filmed the show. And I've recently watched some of these episodes back, and oh my God, do I have notes for myself. Like, if I could go back in time, I think every single scene that I filmed, I wouldn't have I would have done it differently. I would have been more true to myself. Like, there's nothing more powerful I think we've seen with Bose this season,
Yeah.
just to be strong in your convictions and
Mm-hmm.
be true to who you are. Like,
Yeah.
I don't fully understand Bose and Dorit's friendship.
Yeah, it's odd.
I think that what I do feel is, and again, you disagree with me here, but I'm gonna say I believe their friendship's real.
I do too.
I believe their Dorit, and she may never admit this, before she ever met
Oh,
Bose,
yeah.
I think she made a conscious decision to herself.
Yeah.
I am going to make friends with the new Black cast member because
Yeah,
I
because
have been
of the
labeled in the
issues.
past as someone that has not been super inclusive or understanding
Right.
the Black community. And
Right.
and again, that what if Bose didn't vibe with Dorit? Well, that would be a lot harder to stay true to that if, say, Bose was a huge bitch and Dorit didn't like her. Now
Yeah,
it's
but
become
she's not.
easy
She's
because they're
okay.
friends.
Right.
So I think, so what I'm trying to say though is I also think that Dorit, because of PK being in the entertainment industry, I mean, I don't think it's lost on Dorit that Bose led marketing at Endeavor and like was
Oh
in that
yeah.
world, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Bose
And
has her own
Netflix and the
brand.
whole bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I also think
Now,
Dorit's not going to be jealous of Bose because I think Dorit knows that just like I think Dorit just understands how powerful Bose is. And I just think that Dorit made a conscious decision. I am not going to be my traditional self, which is the same as every housewife, and be jealous of the newbie that might be better than me, get more attention than me. Some
right,
newbies are
right.
prettier, this, that, everything else. With Bose, everyone may have their opinions. The real thing that we can all agree on is not there has never been a housewife, including Jenna Lyons, including, I don't know who's another one, Denise Richards, Lisa Rinna, all these like very well-known people in their worlds. There's not been one person that has come into a Housewives franchise that in their world, C-suite marketing exec, there's never been a housewife that has had the roles that Bose has had. And Bose could go
Yeah.
enter if they could put a cast, they could put a cast together of former CEOs, men, and Bose probably would be more qualified than most of the men, depending on where they were the CEOs. Like, she's more qualified than Todd.
Todd,
I
talking
think
about.
being the CMO at Netflix, Endeavor, Uber is more powerful than being the CEO of Palm, because you've been three different companies, big companies. You've proven yourself in different industries, different
Oh, Todd, you're
sectors.
talking about Todd
Yeah.
Newport. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about Ken Todd
No, no, no.
as we were
Newport.
in
Todd
Beverly
Newport.
Hill.
Because I mean, yeah, he's a guy that like he's an old man that worked in tech,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
No,
led a
there's
tech
no
company.
comparison between the two of them.
She's
None.
proven herself in
I
different
thought you were talking
settings.
about
Yeah, no.
Ken Todd
But
and
my
Lisa
point is like we
Vanderpump
don't realize how
because we were
powerful
in.
Bose is. And I've told you this offline. Like, I know
Yeah.
what Bose was getting paid to speak before she was on the Housewives.
Right.
And it's comparable to people that are like big time thought leaders in corporate America. And she was getting it.
Yeah,
Like,
well, she's a great
she was
addition.
booked at the Massachusetts
Great
conference for women, like the
addition.
for women brand, like that conference. They have them at
Yes.
seven cities across the country.
Right.
You have
Yes.
to be the top, 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 top to get booked at those conferences, and she was before all this. Like, she's a real deal. So Dorit's also smart, and I think that like what I just don't like is with Kyle. Like, I appreciated their scene at the beach, but I still felt like it's too much drama and performative.
Yeah.
I think that it would be
It
so
is
much more real
performative.
and powerful if they just sat down and they just looked at each other and said, "What are we doing? What are we doing? We're both going through the hardest times in our lives. We don't agree with everything. There's going to be things that we don't agree with." And if they had just started crying and hugging, that would have been far more real to me than the whole like,
Perhaps. Yeah.
yeah.
I know, but tell me something. Now, if I invite Jennifer Tilly to my house, do you think I can invite her to just invite her over? Do you think she'd come?
Maybe. Why?
Because she gives great gifts.
She does.
I looked it up. The Dolce and Gabbana toaster is $700 with Williams in Sonoma. You can have it too. She gives great gifts. And I love they went to Garcelle's, whose house came out beautiful.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
a great job on her house. So much taste. Garcelle has taste.
I don't really love pillows that have writing on them.
I don't care. I think she has great.
But
It's a
other
beach
than that, I
house.
really love the house.
She has great taste.
And
I love the way it looked.
I also think beach houses, like
Well, they have
my
liberties.
mom doesn't listen to our podcast, so I can
Yeah.
say this. Like my mom, my parents
I
redid their
am.
house years
Yeah.
ago. Like now it's been years. And at first it was great. It was very trendy. The hard part is like you can design a house
Yeah.
modern and chic and cool. It's keeping it that way. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna slam my mom anymore. But
You have a
a
lovely
smaller
beach
beach
house.
house like that, like just keep your keep your shit in your other house, Garcelle. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Oh,
Keep your
yeah,
beach
yeah.
house
Don't
clean,
don't load it up with your stuff in every single spot.
even when the grandkid comes over. You
Yeah,
don't need
right.
to
I
have
get
16 different versions of the same toy.
toy, yes. Okay. I'm a little over them having pajamas and this and that everywhere
I
they
agreed
go.
with Dorit
They
there.
don't have to have a bag for every single thing. Like I picked out this outfit and I planned on wearing it to the beach today, so I'd like to be able to wear it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be for that, but I loved Jennifer Tilly that she wasn't buying it, so to speak. She only put on the pants and she kept on her Gucci dress
Oh yeah.
because she had that Gucci dress and she wasn't. And this is where Beverly Hills is different than the other cities because Miss Jennifer Tilly knew exactly where those pictures were supposed to be, was telling them there's backlight, there's this light. Okay, no, don't back up a little bit. Okay, you should be there. And I mean, that's what you get at Beverly Hills. You don't get at these other cities because they don't understand the lighting and how it all matters.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very interesting that Jennifer is very appreciative to a Doug.
Yeah.
So I went and looked up, and Doug's died.
Oh.
And yeah, Doug died. Her first husband died. So I think she gets the royalties now for The Simpsons. It said at last, she was getting between like 10 and $15 million every year on Simpson royalties. That's a nice gig. That's better than Sutton. Sutton's getting $300,000 a month, but that's only what? That's only like 4 million a year.
I mean, it was a cultural phenomenon. It still is.
Yeah, I mean
We know
Sutton's
someone
getting
that loves
four
The
million.
Simpsons.
Sutton's getting 4 million a year, but Tilly's getting like 15 million a year. So I mean, she's where it's at, Jennifer Tilly. I like that they were okay at the end and
It was fun. I
everything.
liked that Kyle peed. Like I liked that whole thing.
Yeah, I like that the those stupid lanterns ran away. I like when there's some um
I
spontaneity.
just want the Kyle and Dorit stuff to just chill now. Like I just hope it's
Yes, I
not
want
like
it
if they have a
to
big
go
fight at
away.
the end and it leads into the reunion, great. But I don't want
But
it to be every episode, every week.
Era Sutton is starting to act like she's the chief bitch in charge.
Yeah, it was too much. When she interrupted Dorit, I
Yeah.
didn't like it.
Yeah, no, she's got a no, I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
Era,
Who is your mess?
um oh, I don't know. There
Mine's the
wasn't
lantern that flew away.
I was gonna say there wasn't one. I would
There
say
wasn't.
Sutton a little bit because she's
Oh
a little
yeah, that
bit.
was messy. That was
She's
messy.
she that was messy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody just told you about their kid and everything, and it's
Yeah,
just like, oh no, this is about Garcelle today. We've got to get going. It's a long ride.
totally.
Hurry up. All right,
Well,
follow us,
love you
everybody.
guys. Follow us, post,
Bye.
comment. Bye.